township residents are paying for her fund.
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed supermayor of Dayton, Illinois, is once again making headlines. But this time, things have taken a much darker turn. Rumor has it that the FBI has captured footage of her trying to bribe a federal agent. Yes, you read that correctly. The FBI is now investigating her, and her troubles have reached a whole new level. Can you even imagine being in such hot water that your response is to try to bribe your way out of it? Well, that's the desperate position Tiffany Henyard now finds herself in. And, unbelievably, her troubles? They've only just begun. Tiffany Henyard's saga has been filled with jaw-dropping twists, but this latest scandal could be the one that finally brings her down. Picture this. She's already under investigation for mishandling taxpayer funds, throwing extravagant parties, and making shady deals. And now, she's allegedly been caught in the act, trying to bribe federal agents.
Unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have to...
It almost feels too outrageous to be true. But here we are. Sources are reporting that the FBI is now digging into Tiffany Henyard's financial transactions from the past year, trying to determine if she's been pocketing taxpayer money or receiving kickbacks for personal gain. The list of allegations just keeps getting longer. What began as an investigation into Henyard's reckless spending and lavish use of public funds has now spiraled into something far more serious. She's been known to burn through taxpayer dollars without a second thought, spending tens of thousands on private concerts with R&B artists, splurging on first-class flights, indulging in expensive meals, and even funding poorly attended town events.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
Can you believe Dalton is drowning in debt? Yet Henyard was willing to blow tens of thousands on just a few hours of entertainment? And if that wasn't bad enough, she's also accused of going on a shopping spree, treating the town's credit card like her own personal piggy bank, spending nearly $40,000 in a single day on Amazon.
Would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is,
$440,000 on a shopping spree. But that wasn't the only thing getting Henyard into hot water. Her problems go much deeper. The town's finances, under the so-called supermayor, are in such chaos that former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was called in to investigate the disaster. Lightfoot's initial findings were jaw-dropping. Dayton's general fund, once flush with cash, had plunged into a nearly $4 million deficit during Henyard's time in office. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the FBI is now reportedly probing a wide range of questionable financial activities, including potential kickbacks. One of the most outrageous examples of Henyard's behavior has to be the infamous $85,000 event, the Taste of Thornton Township. What was supposed to be a major success turned into a complete disaster. She hired big-name performers, paying $30,000 for Kiki Wyatt to sing for just 30 minutes, and another $20,000 for a brief set by Jay Holiday. On top of that, she spent $6,600 on bounce houses that barely saw any use. Even her own social media posts couldn't mask the embarrassment.
Hey everybody, is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirt.
What's even worse? This bribery scandal has only poured gasoline on the already raging fire of investigations into Henyard's administration. The FBI and other authorities are now digging deep into her finances, trying to uncover what's really been going on in Dayton under her leadership. Make no mistake, This isn't just about reckless spending. There are serious allegations of outright theft, the misuse of public funds, and corruption at the highest levels. If you thought things couldn't get any worse, brace yourself. Her personal security detail is just the tip of the iceberg. Despite Deton being a small town, Henyard insisted on having a police escort that cost taxpayers hundreds of thousands in overtime pay. One officer reportedly made over $100,000 in overtime alone, more than their base salary. The kicker? The town is so financially strapped it can barely afford basic services, yet Henyard was using taxpayer money to fund a personal entourage, to follow her around. To make matters worse, she fired her chief of police late last year without any approval from the village board, leading to Robert Collins filing a lawsuit against the village. It's no wonder the residents are furious. They've been protesting, demanding her resignation, and calling for accountability. One former trustee even accused Henyard of having her own home shot at after speaking out against her, an accusation that only adds fuel to the fire of this scandal-ridden administration. As the investigations continue, Henyard is refusing to back down, digging in her heels. She's even resorted to holding board meetings alone after the trustees walked out in protest over her reckless spending and leadership. Can you picture a mayor holding a one-person meeting just to defend herself? That's exactly what's happening in Deton. What's even more baffling is Henyard's apparent indifference to the outrage of her constituents. Despite the protests, she continues to act as though she's untouchable. Sources close to town Hall have overheard her boasting about how she'll outlast the critics, as if this whole mess is just a game to her. It's as if she believes the rules don't apply to her, which is consistent with her long history of flaunting the law. But, with federal investigators closing in, that arrogance might just be her downfall. And it's not just her spending that's driving people mad. Henyard's leadership style has created a toxic atmosphere within the local government. Reports have surfaced that key staff members have either quit or been fired under questionable circumstances, only adding to the growing list of issues surrounding her administration. As all of this unravels, speculation about what comes next is reaching a fever pitch. Could Henyard be forced out of office? Will the ongoing investigations lead to even more serious legal charges? Experts warn that if she's convicted on the bribery charge, it could open the door for additional charges related to fraud, misuse of public funds, and corruption. If that happens, she could be facing decades in prison. It's a dramatic fall from grace for someone who once marketed herself as Deton's savior, the mayor who was supposed to turn things around. Instead, her time in office has been marred by scandal after scandal, and it seems the walls are finally closing in.